Alright, so we're going to look at graphing hyperbolas. I'll have several examples. I'll try to hit all the different scenarios you'll come across, but um, each example will have its own video, so check them out. Alright, so let's get started. It says the standard form for the equation of a hyperbola with center at the origin is x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1, or y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. The vertices are a units from the center, and the foci are c units from the center. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit more. All right, so what they mean, whatever a is, whether the a is under the x term or a is under the y term, that's how many units the vertices are from the center. Okay, and same thing here. Notice here the a is under the y, so a is how far we go up and down from the center. When it's under the x, it's how far we go left and right. All right, so if we got x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared, notice the x term is before the y term, then that hyperbola is going to open left and right. And if the y term is first and then you've got the x term, that hyperbola is going to open up and down. It's kind of easy to remember. Just think, if x is first, it's going along the x-axis. If the y term is first, it's going along the y-axis. The foci, that's these points here, and I know I don't have it written down, but the foci is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Okay, and the transverse axis, that's the line that goes through both foci points. Okay, and the foci is c units from the center of the hyperbola. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on an example graphing it. All right, so let's look at an example of graphing a hyperbola. So this one, we got 9y squared minus 4x squared equals 36. Well, we saw the equation of a hyperbola earlier, and if you notice one thing about them, they equal 1. Okay, so the equation, when we graph it, it has to equal 1 no matter whether the x term or the y term's first. So if we come back over here to the problem, notice we have this equals 36. So we've got to make this a 1. Well, how can we do that? Well, if we divide everything by 36, that'll give us a 1 over here. And so that gives us, well, the 9 and 36 cancel. We would be left with y squared over 4 minus, and then here the 4 and the 36 cancel. We would be left with x squared over 9, and that equals 1. And now we have it in the form we need it. So, well, with this, we know the hyperbola is going to open up and down because we've got the y term first. We've got to get a and b. So remember, this is a squared and this is b squared. So we have a is equal to, well, if a squared is 4, then a is the square root of 4, which is 2, and b well, if b squared is equal to 9, then b is the square root of 9, which is 3. Okay, and then we can also get the foci. We can get c. Remember, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Well, let's see, a squared, well, here's a squared, it's 4, plus b squared. Well, b squared is 9, and so that's 13. And so that tells us that c is the square root of 13. And if we punch that into our calculator to just get an approximate idea of what square root of 13 is, well, that's 3.6, and some other decimals. We'll just round it to 1 decimal. All right, so we know the center's at 0, 0. So a is 2. Well, it's under the y, so that means on the y-axis we're going to go up 2, and there's a point. We're going to go down 2, there's another point. And then b is 3, so it's under the x term. We're going to move that left and right, so we'll go 1, 2, 3 units to the right, and 1, 2, 3 units to the left. And what does this do? That gives us our box we need. Okay, and we're dashing this in because it's hidden. It's not part of the graph. We're using this as a guide to draw our hyperbola. And so now by connecting the diagonals of the box, that's going to give us our asymptotes. All right. And so there's our asymptotes. And so now we can draw in our hyperbola. Remember, it's up and down, but the y term's first. So it's going to look something like this. So there's our hyperbola. And then we can put in the foci, which is 3 square root of 13, around 3.6. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then a little bit more for the 0.6, and then we'll go down 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more for the 0.6. And there's our points. And then we can come over here and label them. This is the point 3, 0. This would be the point -3, 0. This would be the point 0, -2. This would be the point 0, 2. And then for our foci, that would be the point 0, square root of 13. And this would be 0, -square root of 13. And there's your graph. And I hope this helped. Check out the other videos. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.